What is going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about what I think is the most underrated carry in the current patch. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the video. If you guys do, leave a comment down below and let me know what do you guys feel is the most underrated carry. So for me, Drow Ranger is the most underrated carry in the current patch. Her win rate is actually really solid at 51.87%. It's nothing insanely crazy, but I think her power potential is so strong in the meta. With current heroes like Abaddon and Ricky and Meepo running rampant, Death Prophet is pretty strong. Items like Mage Slayer are really strong right now. I think Drow has a really strong place in the meta. I don't think she can be played every single game, obviously, because there are some lineups that can easily run her over, but I will get into that later. Typically, her strengths are that she is a high damage carry and she also has a silence, but she lacks mobility and she's extremely squishy. This is a hero where if you're good at positioning, you're going to thrive in. If you are bad at positioning, you're going to get dumpstered most of the time. You're going to get caught off guard. You're going to get destroyed, and you're going to have to build BKB very consistently and early on, which is something Drow Ranger doesn't typically want to do. Typically, the build for this hero has always been Wraithband into Treads. You can get a wand for some extra sustain in the lane, which is always going to be fantastic for this hero, as again, she is very squishy. But then you're going to go for Dragonlance. You're going to finish the Hurricane Pike because that extra survivability is extremely important for this hero, especially if you're facing up against heroes that can easily dive you. Heroes like Mars, heroes like Ember Spirit, heroes like Slark that can get on top of you, heroes like Spectre. You always need a safety item. A lot of players make so many mistakes on this hero where they're building a really fast butterfly and items like this. That's not going to save you. It's not going to help you. Force Staff is extremely important on this hero. It's practically a must. You should have Hurricane Pike every single game on this hero. Now, sometimes, yes, you can go Dragonlance into Aghanim Scepter and you might not get punished, but most of the time you're going to have a lot better time if you're running straight Hurricane Pike with Treads and a Wraithband and a wand. You can easily take early fights, which is a really big strength of this hero. It does farm quite slow, but you can easily join fights with your team. Max Frost Arrows is so underrated. It does so much damage, honestly does way too much early on. Your silence is always going to be good. Like Gus is just overall one of the best abilities you have. Multi-shot is just really nice for farming and can definitely clean up kills in a nice AoE. It's always going to be a fantastic ability for you guys to max. You always take that value point in Gus just in case you're going to get dove or something. It can give you that extra time for you to get away safely. Typically, Drow's best matchups are Meepo, Abaddon, Death Prophet, and Slark. Typically, you're good up against these heroes. It honestly depends on item builds, positioning, and a lot of different factors. You're able to take care of these heroes because hypothermia stacks are so strong. One of the reasons Drow became off meta was because they changed her Aghanim Scepter, which was the hypothermia stacks, into Glacier is now her shard. That was a really big thing because you were able to get that shard online and you were able to be online a lot faster. But now you have to get Aghanim Scepter. To a certain point, it honestly is just as good because Aghanim Scepter gives you such incredible stats that you're gonna have a really good time buying this item, and it's gonna help you farm because you're gonna have that extra tank ability. You're gonna have that extra intelligence for more frost arrows. It's just a pretty complete item and should always be put after Hurricane Pike. Some players enjoy doing other items. They enjoy going for a BKB or a Manta. It honestly depends, but my typical build on an average Drow game is going to be Treads into Hurricane Pike into Aghanim Scepter. It's just way too good, especially against heroes like Abaddon, Slark. These heroes that rely a lot on regen, it's always going to be nice to cut that regen down and you're going to get that extra damage. It's just such a really nice item build. I highly recommend it. And then you're bad up against heroes like Phantom Lancer, Spectre, Lycan, Earth Spirit. So basically heroes that can easily get on top of you and just do a ton of damage. But again, when you have an item like Hurricane Pike, you're able to live a lot longer in the fight. And when you're able to just beat on these heroes with a Manta style and a BKB popped, you don't really care. Other than Spectre, you don't really care a whole lot. You might not be able to deal with Phantom Lancer as easily because it's just a ton of illusions, and once it gets Heart and Aghanim Scepter, it just becomes very difficult. That's just a matchup you don't typically win. You could definitely pull it off. It's not impossible. You're just playing with a very bad disadvantage, but this hero is just extremely underrated. I can't tell you guys enough how much this hero is being slept on. You guys should be picking this hero a lot more often, especially into free Drow games. You should just take those easy wins because this hero is pumping out damage. This hero can fight early, does the damage. All you need is a bit of front line, and you need players to be in front of you and that can actually protect you. So tell your team to buy an extra force staff, an extra glimmer, all these types of items that can easily buff the Drow. You can get an assault cuirass on your offlaner. All these things are going to buff this hero to a whole new level. I usually enjoy playing Drow Ranger with heroes like Venomancer, Lion. Shadow Shaman's really good because you're able to get a bunch of kills in the laning phase. These types of aggressive heroes are very nice. You don't want a passive hero playing with a Drow Ranger. You typically want your support to start making plays. That way you can get a lot more kills. And don't be afraid to buy regen. Don't be afraid to buy a clarity. Don't be afraid to buy mangoes. You might need it just to get that extra kill. That's why you get the wand, but sometimes you just might need that clarity for extra farm efficiency. You might need it. So don't be afraid to buy regen on this hero. It's always going to pay off in the long run because you're going to be able to farm a lot more and you're going to be able to spam more frost arrows, which will get you more kills in turn. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about Drow? Is it the most underrated carry? In my opinion, it definitely is. You guys should give it a try. And if you guys are Drow spammers, what do you guys think is the worst matchup you should run into Drow? I definitely think some people have been speaking about Riki being a tough matchup. I played a game very recently against Riki and Abaddon, which are both very meta heroes and very strong right now. I definitely dumpstered both of those heroes. Now, sure, one game doesn't determine an entire matchup, but overall, I felt like with Hurricane Pike Rush, it was very nice because I was able to get out of smoke screen from the Riki, and once I had Aghanim Scepter, Abaddon was no longer an issue. Even though he has a Photic Shield, I was easily able to burn through that, and his ultimate was definitely a breeze, especially if your supports get an item like Spirit Vessel. Even though he can dispel it, you just wait for a Photic Shield to be on cooldown and apply the Spirit Vessel, and it's going to make your life much easier. Also, against OD, it's very nice because you have Gust. Gust definitely does a lot to OD. OD is typically not a hero that enjoys to buy BKB early on. You can easily take advantage of that and join early fights on a snowballing OD. You can just go and Gust them and they will probably die very easily. So definitely keep that in mind. You can be very active on this hero. Don't just sit AFK farm. Join fights with your team that you think are beneficial for you. Obviously, don't join a fight that's 2 versus 5 because that's just going to be a complete waste of your time and you're probably just going to feed. But if it's going to be a full team fight, you should definitely take advantage of that. Make sure your team is in front of you and make sure your positioning is solid, as this hero is insanely dependent on position. If your position is good, then you're going to do very well. It's kind of like a sniper. You're a glass cannon where you do a lot of damage if uncontested, but if people start getting on top of you, you can definitely have a lot of issues and have to start buying items like BKB, Lincolns, so you can be a little bit more survivable. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. A like would be much appreciated, and leave a comment down below and let me know if Drow is one of your favorite heroes in Dota. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.